About 6 months ago, I completely destroyed my voice and I had to stop singing for about 3 or 4 months. This video is the story of how I got my voice back. So if you have injured your voice, I'm gonna share with you in this video some of the steps that I went through to get my voice back. And now, here's the glimpse of hope, the light at the end of the tunnel. I've been able to sing pretty much normally for the past 2 months or so, and really the majority of me fixing my voice happened within the range of maybe 3 to 4 weeks, about a month. So if you have something similar to what I have, i.e. vocal cord nodules or muscle tension dysphonia, I'm going to share with you how I got my voice back, and there is hope. You can do it. Let's start off. I'll just quickly share my story with you. Back in December of last year, this was about 6 months ago now as of me filming this video, I had a Christmas night of worship where I sang a lot. The week leading up to that, I was sick with a cold or something. But I had pretty much recovered at that point whenever it was time to sing for the night of worship. So I sang at the night of worship. I was still feeling a little bit weird, like I had pretty much recovered, but there was still a little bit of, I don't know, mucus or something in my throat. Something felt slightly off, but not bad enough for me to not sing. So I sang that night. Felt perfectly fine. Woke up the next morning with a terrible pain in my neck. It was pretty much right in here, and it felt like I'd pulled a muscle or something. And so I thought, well, that's weird. I've never felt that before. I guess I pulled a muscle when I was singing last night. So what do you do when you pull a muscle? You just rest it and say, I'm not going to sing. Now, here's the kicker. That following week, there were 2 funerals that I had to sing at for people in my church. And so I thought, I'll just rest Monday until Friday, which was when the first funeral was, and I'll be good to go. So I rested, and I did feel better that Friday. And so I sang some songs at that funeral, and then I sang some songs the next day at the next funeral, and then it just kept getting worse. My voice just kept getting worse and worse, and I tried to sing that Sunday, and there was just a huge amount of pain. The only way I can describe it, at least in the initial stages, is it feels like if somebody has like a piece of rope and it's tied to your jaw right here, it feels like they're just like cranking down on that. If you try to put your head back, it feels like, no, you can't do that. Somebody's taking a piece of rope and keeping your head from going back. That's what it felt like all the time. It was like there was this really tight, keyword, tight muscle in my neck going from right here all the way down, even into my chest almost. And over time, I didn't stop singing because, I mean, that's kind of my job as a worship leader. I just kept singing. And it just kept getting worse until eventually I was like, you know what? I have to go to the doctors. So I went to the ENT. They did a scope, which is basically they take this tube, they go up your nose. It sounds a lot worse than it actually was. I didn't actually mind it. They take this tube, go up your nose, it has a camera on it, and they look at your vocal cords. It goes down the back of your throat. They look at your vocal cords. And when they looked at my vocal cords, the ENT said, looks like you have small nodules on your vocal cords, which is not what you want to hear whenever you're a singer, because usually that means vocal rest. And so they said, we're going to schedule another appointment for you where we do another scope where they actually take a video of how your vocal cords are working. And until that time, you need to rest your voice, because that's what you do whenever you have vocal cord nodules. You rest and you wait for them to go away. So I went out to the receptionist and tried to schedule my next appointment, and she said it's 3 months away. And so that meant that the doctor was telling me, rest your voice for 3 months until you can finally get this next scope. So I continued to deal with that pain right in here in my neck, and it got worse and it got worse, but then I wasn't using it as much, so it kind of wasn't as bad. And then I was like, hey, maybe I can sing a little bit. So I tried singing a little bit, and it was instant pain again. And I thought this issue will never be resolved. And that was until I posted about it on my personal Facebook page, and luckily one of my friends is a speech language pathologist. She reached out to me and said, hey, I think I can help you. And so I met with her for 2 sessions, which was like over the course of 3 to 4 weeks. And then that led right up to my next scope. And when I had that next scope, they looked and they said, good news, your vocal cord nodules are gone and you have minimal tightness. And then I celebrated, and then I sang a little bit that next Sunday I sang one song, and then I sang two songs, and then I eventually sang all the songs in the service. And as of right now, I'm pretty much back to normal. I'm not going to say I'm 100% because there's still some times where I deal with that pain in my throat, but I know how to manage it now. So if that's you, if you have experienced some sort of pain in your neck from singing, I'm going to share with you the steps that you need to take to get your voice back. And I want you to know that there is hope to get your voice back. And not only that, but your voice will be stronger than it was before. I know I heard that when I was going through this, and I was like, there's no way that my voice is going to be stronger than it was before. But my voice is probably 50% stronger in my singing. I'm a better singer now because of what happened to my voice, because I actually understand the mechanics of what happens when I sing. I never took voice lessons before. This has moved me into understanding how to use my voice in a safer way, but also a more powerful way. So if that's you, what is the first step that you need to take? The first step that you need to take is that you need to go to an ENT. And I know that's not what you want to hear. That's not what I wanted to hear. I was like, well, I can probably just watch videos on YouTube and figure it out. No, you need to be appropriately diagnosed because there are two things at play here, maybe even more. These are just the two things that I dealt with. First of all, it could be vocal cord nodules. And if that's the case, depending on the size of the vocal cord nodules, you might actually need to rest your vocal cords before you start doing all of these different exercises. Sometimes, depending on how bad your vocal cord nodules are, they'll have you rest for a week or something with minimal talking. Now, my vocal cord nodules weren't that bad, so I kind of got to skip that step, although maybe I kind of did that step because they had me in this waiting period in limbo. But I don't think that ultimately that was the recommendation that I needed. But it might be what you need, and you will never know if you have vocal cord nodules for sure until you get scoped by an ENT. So you must do that first. The rest of the things that I talk about in this video, they're definitely going to help you, but they will not diagnose your problem. So go to an ENT, find out if you have vocal cord nodules or not, or they might diagnose you with muscle tension dysphonia. And I guess I should probably describe what both of these are if you don't know. Vocal cord nodules, you've got two vocal cords in your throat down here, and when you talk or sing, they rub together. And that's ultimately what makes the different pitches whenever you sing, is that they're rubbing together. Now, what happens with vocal cord nodules is that sometimes when we misuse our voice, or maybe it's not even like a conscious, I misused it. It's just like, in my case, it could have just been that I was sick leading up to that time that I sang. Your vocal cords might get inflamed or irritated, and over time, as they rub together, they'll form almost like a little callus on one or usually both of the vocal cords. And that's what happened to me. I had these little tiny bumps on my vocal cords, which that means that they can no longer touch together like they should. And when that happens, you get hoarseness in your voice. And you might start to feel like you're losing your voice, and maybe it'll come back after you rest for a little while because the inflammation of your vocal cords will go away, and then they can kind of touch enough to rub together again appropriately. But eventually, those nodules will get so big that your vocal cords can't touch at all, and that's when you get some serious hoarseness in your voice and you start losing all of your range of your singing, especially. So those are vocal cord nodules. Muscle tension dysphonia has to do with the muscles around that area in your neck. So your vocal cords are somewhere in here. Mind you, I'm not a doctor. I'm just making this simple for all of us. Your vocal cords are somewhere in here. Around your vocal cords are a whole bunch of muscles in your neck. And what muscle tension dysphonia is what's kind of described by the name. There's tension in some of these muscles, or a lot of these muscles, around your vocal cords, and it causes tension in them, which squeezes your muscles together, and then your voice starts to sound like this because that's an exaggeration, but that's essentially what happens is these muscles in your neck tighten, causing the vocal cords, once again, to not work how they should. And that might manifest itself in hoarseness, or it might manifest itself in pain. And so if you have pain, you're typically, in my understanding, not going to feel pain from nodules. Nodules are just bumps on your vocal cords, and you'll be hoarse from that. But from the nodules themselves, it's not like you can feel that you have nodules on your vocal cords. You can only realize that you have hoarseness in your voice, and that might be a sign that you have nodules. The real pain, at least for me, came from the muscle tension dysphonia. And so I had both. I had nodules on my vocal cords, and I had the muscles around my vocal cords being tight, causing the pain in my neck. That's why I felt like somebody had taken a rope and was pulling it down, and I couldn't pull my head back. And eventually, as you use your voice more and more, you almost train your voice to use the wrong muscles now, because one of two things is happening. Either your muscles in your neck are just really tight, and the more you use them, the more you just get used to using your voice in that way, which only causes more problems. Or it's also compensating for your vocal cords not being able to rub together like they should because of nodules, for example. And so that makes other muscles in your neck trigger that shouldn't be triggering whenever you're talking, or at least shouldn't be as tight whenever you're talking. And now it's trying to compensate and squeeze your vocal cords together, but there's a little bump there, so they can't quite touch, and then it's just a cycle where it gets worse and worse. And in that process, I found myself asking the question, which came first? Was it the muscle tension dysphonia, or was it the nodules? In other words, did the nodules cause the muscles in my neck to try to compensate for that, or did my muscles in my neck just happen to tighten up, and then that caused my vocal cords to work wrong, and then it caused nodules? The truth is that we don't really know. Oftentimes it's hard to diagnose which came first, the chicken or the egg, the nodules or the muscle tension dysphonia. Oftentimes those will go hand in hand, and you can't really tell which caused which, because muscle tension dysphonia can cause nodules, nodules can cause muscle tension dysphonia. And so if you're worried about that, it doesn't really matter. The exercises I'm about to share are going to solve both of those problems. Long story short, you need to, first of all, go see an ENT. That ENT will probably refer you to some speech therapy or voice therapy. I never know what to call it. Whenever it's called speech therapy, it makes it sound like you have like a speech problem, like a lisp, or I don't know, you can't say your R's or something. But you'll probably be recommended to a voice therapist, and those are some of the exercises that I'm going to share with you now. Now, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't go see a voice therapist, because I wouldn't actually understand these exercises that I'm about to show you to the fullest extent unless I went to a voice therapist, and they're going to identify maybe some other things in your voice that I'm not going to talk about in this video. So at least go see a voice therapist, a speech language pathologist, for 2 sessions or something. I only went to a speech language pathologist for 2 sessions, and it was the thing that fixed my voice in under a month. But in the meantime, I'm going to share with you some exercises that can help you. So let's move on to some exercises that you can do now that you have gone to see an ENT, and now that you have committed to seeing a speech language pathologist. Those 2 things are necessary. You can't skip those steps and fix your voice. I guess maybe you could, but I don't recommend it, because it's going to be so much easier if you actually understand what is going on in your voice by getting scoped, and if you meet with a speech language pathologist who can guide you through the process. So now that we've done those things, what do we do? What exercises can we do? How do we actually fix this problem? How did I fix this problem in under a month and get my voice back to basically 100%? And the key point for me was that I needed to actually understand the problem that the exercises were going to fix. So I could just give you the exercises, but if you don't understand what the exercises are doing, at least for me, it wasn't going to help, because I wouldn't understand what they are actually targeting and what they're trying to accomplish. So let me briefly explain the problem that these exercises are designed to solve. And I kind of already explained with the whole muscle tightness in your neck and your vocal cords things. Let's explore that just a little bit more so that we can understand how these exercises are going to solve that problem. And because I started to understand what these exercises did, I understood the problem that they were solving, that meant that it helped me actually understand what aim I was looking for in the exercises. I wasn't just humming to hum, which we're going to talk about as an exercise here, but I actually understood what it was designed to do. And number two, that made me actually want to do the exercises. If somebody just tells you, do these exercises because it'll fix your voice, that's not enough motivation for me. I need to understand what the exercises are accomplishing for me to want to do them, or else I'm like, this just feels like I'm humming. And honestly, a lot of these exercises feel kind of silly, feel kind of stupid. And I thought, if I do these, there's no way that this is going to fix my voice. I felt that way until I understood what the exercises were designed to do. And so once again, let's just boil down. What is the problem that these exercises are trying to solve? Ultimately, the problem is this, that there are muscles in your neck that are triggering that should not be triggering whenever you're talking. That's sort of an oversimplification, but that's what's happening. Whenever you're talking, there are muscles in your neck that you shouldn't be using to talk that you are using to talk. And the reason that you're using those, or the reason that you're feeling them when you're talking, is because of two things. First of all, it could be from vocal cord nodules. If you have them, now the muscles in your neck are trying to compensate for your vocal cords not being able to close because there's a little bump on each of them. So it could be muscles trying to compensate for that. In that case, we need to get rid of the vocal cord nodules. Or number two, it could just simply be tension in your neck from stress or just from your body. I mean, ultimately, I think it is from stress because your body has learned to protect your voice, or at least it thinks it's protecting its voice by tightening those muscles, using different muscles than it should be using. And so these exercises are designed to do two things. First of all, some of the exercises are designed to release that tension in your neck. We're going to talk about stretching here in a second. And those exercises are designed to release the tension in your neck. Because your voice is using muscles that it shouldn't be using, those muscles get really tight, and we just need some temporary relief. Now, if you only do those exercises, you will relieve the tension in those muscles for a little while until you start using those muscles again, which is inevitably going to happen whenever you talk again because you're not talking in an appropriate way. And when I say that, I want to point out once again that it's not your fault that you're doing that. That's just something that your body has taught itself to do, and which is why we need to get to the second purpose of these exercises, because you can relieve that tension as much as you want, but it will keep coming back until you use these exercises to train your voice to talk in an appropriate way. So the purpose of these exercises is twofold. First of all, to provide short-term relief, to relax those muscles that feel tension, which for me, it was this muscle right here, but for you, it could be really anywhere in your neck. It manifests in different ways for different people. For me, it just felt like it was right in here. That's where my body learned to store the tension, or maybe those were the muscles that were working that shouldn't have been working. So first of all, short-term relief. But second of all, we're looking for long-term relearning of how to use our voice. We're doing these exercises because they subtly retrain our voice to be used how it should be used. So keep that in mind as I share these exercises, and I will explain as we go through which ones help with short-term relief and which ones help with long-term retraining. So now we get into the exercise part. What is the first exercise you can do? Well, if you're like me and you're feeling tension and pain in your neck right now, you want relief right now. How do we do that? The first thing you can do is by stretching, because remember what's happening. The muscles in your neck are tight right now, and when muscles are tight, they're kind of contracted, right? And so we want to stretch them out, and that way we don't feel so much tension. So let me share a few exercises that you can do to stretch the muscles in your neck. And some of these may work for you, some of them might not. The goal isn't necessarily to do all of them, but the goal is to figure out which one of these exercises or multiple exercises of stretching, which one of them do you feel that pull in your neck? And I'll explain what that means as we go through. So here are a couple exercises that I found helpful. The first one is this. You want to sit up straight. Maybe let me move my chair back here. You want to sit up straight, and then you're going to push your head out like a turtle. Here, I'll turn sideways. Like this. And then you're going to take your chin and bring it down to your chest. just like this. Stick your head out, make sure your body's straight. Bring your chin down for like 5 seconds, and then bring it up and bring your head back. And you can do that a couple times. Stick your head out, bring your chin down, hold it for 5 seconds while you're breathing. Make sure to breathe deeply. And then bring your head up, bring it back. Now, when you do that, the goal of this one, if this is the one that works for you, is to relieve the tension. You'll feel it if it's working in this back part of your neck right here. It's designed to stretch these muscles right here. So whenever you bring your head forward and you bring it down, if you are storing tension in your back of your neck, you'll feel all of this tension right here, which this one, whenever I was first doing it, I was apparently storing a lot of tension in my neck right there, because this is one of the ones that worked for me. But once again, it might not work for you. You might be storing tension somewhere else in your neck, which is why we have these other exercises. Another one that I like to use is simply turning your head to the left and the right. So do it with me, and if you have tension in your neck, you will feel it either on your right or left side. So you just take your head, make sure that you're sitting up straight with your back straight, and you just want to look to the left as far as you can. And this is the one that I feel a lot of the times. And it kind of goes from this, there's like a big muscle in your shoulder right here, all the way up to almost up here in your head. It's like there's this big muscle here that gets tight for me. And that's part of the muscles. Those are some of the muscles that shouldn't be triggering, that are tight. So just hold that. Sometimes I hold this for 10 seconds. Just taking a deep breath. And then we bring it back. And then we can try the other way, because maybe your tension is over here. I don't usually have tension over here for some reason, but we just do the same thing. Look to the right as far as you can. Breathe deeply, hold that for 10 seconds. And bring it back to the front. Now, if you feel tension in one side over the other, it's okay to focus on that one side. Like I said, I always feel it on this side, which is my right side, so I will spend more time in this exercise looking over here. It's not like you need to balance it out or anything. We're just trying to find where the tension is. So if you feel like something's pulling all up in this area, just focus on that. Take some deep breaths, count to 10. And then look back. So that's exercise number 2. The other one we can do is try to take our ear and push it down to our shoulders like this. Just picture you're taking your ear down to your shoulder, and you might even notice whenever we go to the other side, you might notice that one of these sides you can bring your head further down. That means that there's less tension. Like right now, this is as far as I can get my head down because I feel a little tension right here, which is good because that's stretching it out. You hold that for 10 seconds, bring your head up straight, and then I can go down much farther on this side. Maybe you can't see it on the video, but I can definitely feel that my ear is closer to my shoulder on this one. And you want to make sure that your shoulders aren't coming up like this. Just keep them straight. You hold that for 10 seconds. And don't forget to breathe. You don't want to pass out while you're doing this. So take some deep breaths as you're doing it and count to 10. And I would go back and forth and do that a couple times depending on where the tension is. Like I said, it's okay to focus on one specific part. And then the final stretch that I do is kind of twofold. We're going to let our head drop down, like our chin to our chest, and just kind of sit there loosely. And then the goal is to roll our head, but we don't want to roll it the whole way around because that's bad for your neck. So we're going to roll it in the front first, and then after that, we'll put our head back and roll it like this. So let's start head down. We'll hold it 10 seconds on this side, 10 seconds on this side. So do this with me. Put your head down. You don't have to stick it out like we did for the first one. Just put your chin down and roll it over. And for me, this was one of the ones that was big for me. I even feel it right now, even though my tension's not too bad today. But once again, I feel it all up in this area from my shoulder up almost to my ear here. Just take some deep breaths keep it over there for 10 seconds, 2, 1, and then we're gonna roll it back down slowly, and we're gonna roll it over to the other side. And you should feel it if you have tension here, and we're gonna hold it on this side for 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it back down and bring your head up straight. We just want to make sure that we don't hurt our neck when we do this. Not that there's too much of a worry to do that, but if you do it too fast or if you try to move your head all around, then you could hurt your neck. So that was the front. Now we kind of do the same thing, but we lean back. And this is where I always felt the most tension, because this stretches out the front of your neck, like this whole side. Remember how I was talking about how I always felt it right in here? This was when I really felt the tension relief. So put your head back like this, and we just want to roll it over to this left side. And we'll hold that, keep your head back. For me, this is the one that stretched out this muscle right here. So maybe this is the one that works for you. Maybe when we go to the other side, you'll feel the tension pulling there. We're gonna hold that for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Roll it back to the middle, and then we'll roll it off to the right. Same thing. This one, I don't feel as much tension. Maybe you feel tension there. It would probably be in the same place that I felt on the other side of my neck, but we'll just hold this. Remember to breathe. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And bring it back. And then you can bring your head up straight. So those were the, 4 or 5 stretches that I do. And the way that I do that is I will literally spend maybe, 5 minutes each morning stretching my neck out at the beginning of the day. And I will be consistent in that, as we're going to be consistent in all of these exercises. So once again, those exercises were stick your head out straight, bring it down to your chest, hold it for 5 seconds, and then you can bring it up. And I would do maybe 5 repetitions of that, or maybe 6, and that would be like a minute. And then I might do 5 repetitions of this, holding this one where you try to bring your ear down to your shoulder. Might do that 5 times for 10 seconds on each side. And then I might turn this way, do that for 10 seconds, 5 times. And then I'll do the one where I roll my head. And like I said, it's okay to pick which of these is your favorite. Find 2 or 3 of these that actually help you. Like I don't always do the stick your head forward and put your chin down to your chest, because that one doesn't always help me. You'll feel it if it's going to help or not. Like, don't just think I need to do all of these because Spencer said to do all of these. Find the ones where you can actually find tension in your neck and then focus in on those ones and prioritize those. Now, as helpful as those stretches are, and you should be doing them, those will only bring temporary relief to you because you're only temporarily stretching out the muscles. And so this is part of the short-term solution that we talked about. This will bring relief and it'll help you feel good. I would do those stretches 3 times a day along with the other vocal exercises that I'm about to talk about. So I made a commitment of doing these in the morning, at lunchtime, and then after dinner every night. And I did that for 2 weeks, and that brought a crazy amount of relief for me, but that's only short-term relief. We need long-term relief now, and this is where we need to retrain our voice to be used in a proper way. And to retrain our voice to be used in an appropriate way, we're going to move on to what is called resonant voice therapy. And I want to explain the goal of these exercises because this is ultimately what is going to retrain your voice. So part of what is happening whenever our muscles aren't working appropriately is that our voice is almost caught in the back of our throat. I'll try to emphasize it here, like this even hurts to talk. And you probably won't feel it this intense. I'm just doing this. You can feel it like in the back of your throat. And maybe you don't even notice this until we do it resonantly, because ultimately our goal is to talk resonantly. And here's what that means. We want to take the resonance of our voice from the back of our throat, and we want to learn how to bring it to the mask, the front of our face. If you're a singer and you've ever heard that term resonating in your mask, that's what we want to do whenever we speak, because our mask is this whole, there's sort of a cavity, like your nasal cavity and your sinuses, I assume, and even partially in your mouth, like your whole mouth in here is a resonant chamber. And we want to, instead of resonating in the back of our throat like this, which causes our muscles to work harder and be tighter, we want to bring it to the front of our face, because this whole area right here can resonate with sound, allowing you to talk louder with less effort on your vocal cords. And that's what we want right now. We're trying to take the pressure off of our vocal cords, which whenever you speak in the back of your throat like this, and there's no resonance in the front of your face, you have to work really hard to be loud. But whenever you bring it out to the front of your face, which you're going to feel here in a second if you don't quite understand, that's where you get power in talking, but also in singing, which is why this helped make my singing voice stronger as well. So that's the goal of these exercises that we're about to do, is to learn how to resonate in the front of our face whenever we're talking instead of the back of our throat. And here's how we're going to learn how to do that. It starts simply by humming. So whenever we hum, what we're ultimately doing is we're forcing all of the resonance, all of the sound to go up through our nasal cavity, which is where we ultimately want to resonate, along with, I think, some in our mouth cavity as well. But we want to force the resonance of our voice through the nasal cavity, and we want to ultimately feel vibration up here in the area of our nose right here, because that's where our nasal cavity is. You might also feel it like a tingling or a buzzing on your lips whenever you hum, but humming, when we close our mouth, forces all of the air out of our nose. And you can actually test if you're doing this right by, whenever you're humming, whenever you close your nose like this, that will cut off all the sound. And that tells you that all of the sound is coming through your nasal cavity. So just try it with me here for 5 seconds. We're going to hum. Just pick whatever note feels good to you. You don't have to match my note necessarily. That's just the one that I find resonates, pun intended, but also not intended. It actually resonates the most with me. And we're looking to just focus on this feeling in the front of our face, where it almost feels like the front of our face is buzzing. It might even tickle your nose a little bit. Just hum until you feel that effect on the front of your face. Let's do it together. Find a note that is comfortable for you. See if you can feel the resonance in the front of your face. It might be in your lips. It might be sort of up here in your nasal cavity. We can check if we're doing it right by plugging our nose while we're doing it. See how it cut off? That's because all of the sound is coming through my nose. If I cut that off, there's no more sound. That means you're doing it right. And I want you to do that and just focus. A lot of this is in your brain, essentially. It's not something that you are going to be mechanically able to do just by sheer willpower, but it's something that you're going to have to feel. So just hum. Sometimes it even helps, like I said, this is in your mind. So picture the resonance in the back of your voice, or the back of your throat, and then picture moving it forward. This is what helps me. So I'll point back and I'll point forward as I do it. We'll start in the back of my throat. Picture this in your own mind. Hum with me. Now it's in the front. We'll put it back in the back now. And do you feel how the muscles in your neck get tight and it feels like your voice is trapped in the back of your throat? This is how I learned to feel the difference, is moving it back and forth and then telling my brain, hey, I want my voice to always be in the front, like this. Feel the buzzing on your lips. Maybe try to push it into your nasal cavity. You You can even put your finger like on the side of your nose. Don't plug your nose, but just feel it. You'll feel resonance in your nose here. That's what we want to feel. So it starts just with humming, and we're teaching our body to feel that resonance at the front of our face. We're putting the resonance in our mask. So that's step one of this exercise. And I don't do this for as long as I just did it. Now, once you get the feeling, you'll understand what you're aiming for, and you might just do this to recalibrate your voice for 5-10 seconds at the beginning of this exercise. So this is just the first step of the exercise. So we'll go, let's do it again. Focus on feeling the resonance at the front of your face. Okay, we've got that feeling locked in. That's why this is called resonant voice therapy. We're feeling the resonance at the front of our face. But whenever we talk, we don't just talk by humming, right? So now we need to take that feeling and slowly apply it to words, and then we're going to slowly apply that to normal speech. So here's how we do that. We start off with humming. Hum for 5 seconds with me. We've got that feeling in our face. Now we're going to start saying words that start with an M or an N, because those mimic that humming sound. Whenever you say, like, just make an M sound, right? It's just a hum. Same thing sort of with the N. The N sound is a little different, but it's essentially the same. It's a hum. And so we want to use words now that have M's, that start with M's or have M's in them or N's in them, to trigger that same sensation, and then we're going to slowly apply that to our normal speaking voice. So let's start off with a few words. I'll put a few up here on the screen. Say them with me. And I like to sort of, at least when I start, I like to hum into these. So we'll start off with me, my, mom, moo, and mo. Let's say those. I don't know if I'll say them in that order, but let's say them together. Let's start with me. Hum for like 5 seconds, and then let it come out as a me, like this. Me. And I want you to focus on that resonance in the front of your face. Me. Say it again. Me. Let's go on to my. My. The whole time we're focusing on the resonance at the front of our face. My. We don't want it in the back of our throat, not like my. We want it in the front. My. My. Let's go on to mom, which has 2 M's in it. So start with the resonance in your face. Open up your mouth to get the ah, and then close it back up to the M and feel the resonance throughout. Let's do it together. Mom. Mom. You can even keep that resonance going through the O of the word mom. Mom. Keep it in the front of your face. Mom. Let's do one more. Let's go. Mo. 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 And when I would do these exercises, I know it sounds stupid, but remember, we're trying to train our voice. I want to give you encouragement throughout this, or else you're just going to think I'm some weird guy on YouTube giving you stupid exercises to do. Remember, these are to train your voice, to bring the resonance to the front of your face, taking the pressure off of your vocal cords and allowing you to talk with more ease. All right, so we've got our words down, and you don't always have to hold that hum out for quite as long. I just like to do that to feel the sensation, and then I go into the word. But I will start with me, and then I'll try to say it slightly normally. Me, me, and then I'll just say it normally. Me, 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 and I feel that resonance in the front of my face the whole way throughout. Let's try it on my. Start humming it. My, my. My. Say it normally. My. Let's do it one more time with mom. Mom. And I'll like force myself to feel that resonance before I commit to saying it. I will hum until I feel the resonance, and then I'll say the word. So if you hear me like hold on to it, I'm trying to figure out where that resonance is. mom, mom, mom. So now we've got one word down. Now we're trying to slowly work into being able to talk normally. So we've got one word. What comes after one word? Well, we say two words. So let's try my mom, main man, many men. We'll say it like that. And this gives us practice saying multiple words in a row. So let's start with my mom. My mom. And I'll even pause as I'm saying these, like hanging on a hum whenever I need to. My mom. My mom. My mom. My mom. And you should feel the resonance as you say it. Let's try main man. This one has an M at the beginning and an N at the end of both words, so we can really focus on that resonance. Say it with me. Main man. And we haven't done the N sound yet, so maybe you're struggling with the N. I want you to hang on those N letters until you feel the resonance in the same way that you do with the M. Let's try it. Main man. Main man. My mom. Main man. Let's try one more. Many men. The same thing with the M and the N. Many men. Many men. Focus on that resonance. And I would do those a couple times. Now, we get to the final goal, which is to say actual phrases. And I have a few phrases that I like to say. I'll say these throughout the day just to keep retraining my voice, but I'll definitely say it at the end of these exercises. Those sayings are, I'll put them on the screen. Mary made me mad. See how there's a bunch of M's in there? Mary made me mad. Many men on the moon munch on melons, and more meat means more muscle. I'll just go back and forth through those sayings, focusing on the resonance, but the goal is ultimately to say them normally, because right now it's real easy to just say them monotone. Like we'll start with Mary made me mad. I could just say it like, Mary made me mad. But I don't have inflection there. So I'm not really speaking yet. I'm just sort of chanting it, which is okay as you're trying to feel the resonance in your face. But let's try it again. Mary made me mad. Now let's try to say it more normally, keeping the resonance in the front of our face. Mary made me mad. Now imagine you were telling somebody that you had a friend whose name was Mary, and she made you mad. How would you say it if your friend was sitting here right beside you? You would say, Mary made me mad. And we want to make sure that that resonance, when we say it, Mary made me mad, is at the front of our face. Let's try it with more meat means more muscle. More meat means more muscle. More meat means more muscle. Now say it like you are a weightlifter and you're slamming some steak or something for protein. You say, more meat means more muscle. More meat means more muscle. And you're focusing on the resonance in the front of your face. More meat means more muscle. More meat means more muscle. I know it sounds ridiculous when you do it, but the more you do this, the more you train your voice to put the resonance at the front of your face, which is what we want. We want to be able to do it subconsciously. In the same way that we have subconsciously learned to use our voice wrongly, now we need to train our voice to use it rightly. By the way, I'll leave an explanation of all of these exercises down in the description below. I like to do these exercises 3 times a day, the ones that I just talking about. Stretching, which you focus on wherever the tension is, and then these humming into word exercises. And I'll give you a system to work through there where you start with humming for 5 seconds, feel the resonance, move on to singular words, move on to 2 words at a time, and then move on to phrases. I'll leave some phrases and words that you can use for that exercise down in the description below. But I will commit to doing those 3 times a day. And by the way, you don't have to do this forever. I'm not still doing these 3 times a day. I just do them now when I feel like I need to because the tension has returned to my voice. But when I was first first dealing with this, I did them in the morning when I woke up, I did them after lunch, and I did them after dinner. I did them 3 times a day because I was trying to train my voice to speak properly, and that's what happens. You won't feel it instantly whenever you first started doing it. It probably took 2 weeks for this to start to click in my normal talking, and that's when I experienced long-term relief. So commit to it for 2-3 weeks. Be diligent in doing it 3 times a day, and you will slowly train your voice to feel that resonance, to talk resonantly all the time, not just when you're doing these exercises. Now, all of those were just about speaking, but as a worship leader, I'm a singer, maybe you're a singer too, and so we want to now apply this to singing. And the easiest way that I found to do this is by having a straw. This straw is your new friend. Just get a plastic straw. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. Mine looks like this. It's, you can get a different width. You'll feel a different tension whenever we blow through this, or hum through it, I should say. But you just need a straw. And literally, I know there's a bunch of exercises that you can do with a straw. I hate exercises. I know I just led you through some exercises, but when it comes to music, I hate exercises. Whenever I learned guitar, I didn't learn by doing scales. I didn't learn by just doing music theory. I learned by playing songs. And so for me, the most helpful thing for me to do with this straw was simply find a song that is in a comfortable range, a song that I like. I'm not listening to somebody say, hey, sing happy birthday or hum happy birthday through the straw. Pick a song that you like, and I just want you to hum through the straw. So let's pick a song that I would do, we'll say, A Mighty Fortress Is Our God. I don't know what key I'm going to hum it in because it doesn't really matter. I'm just trying to find something that's comfortable for my voice. And let me explain what happens in this exercise. First of all, this will train you as you're singing to force the resonance through the straw. In the same way that we want to teach ourselves to talk resonantly, this will teach us to sing resonantly, because humming through the straw is going to allow us to feel that resonance happening at our lips. You'll feel it. You'll feel almost the whole straw. It won't shake this violently, but you'll feel it vibrating as you sing when you're doing it correctly. And so we're teaching our voice to sing resonantly and bringing the resonance to the front of our face, but this also creates almost like a back pressure on your vocal cords, which will bring them relief. So even as you hum through this, it will actually bring short-term relief to your vocal cords, but your vocal cords, if you're singing properly, should also feel some of that back pressure when you're singing without the straw. So there is like a pressure, you'll feel it if you focus on it, like it's sort of in the back of your throat here, right where you would imagine your vocal cords would be, even though I'm not sure if it's actually where your vocal cords are, but you'll feel that back pressure, like a pressure against your vocal cords that doesn't hurt. It feels good. So I just want you to take your straw, wrap your lips around it tightly so that there's nothing, no air coming out of either sides. And I just want you to find a note, first of all, and hum on it. And we're focusing on the same thing that we focused on whenever we were talking. We want the resonance to be in the front of our face. In fact, in this case, you can almost picture that the resonance starts on your lips and is pushed out through the straw. Just like I said, a lot of this is in your mind, but picture that. Starts at the tip of your straw right by your mouth, and you're pushing the resonance out of the straw, and it's almost, the resonance is landing right here at the tip of the straw. Let's do it together. Just hum on any note. And the way you know you're doing this appropriately is if you can take your hand, close up the straw, just like we did whenever we pinched our nose. If you close up the straw and all the sound stops, that means all of the sound is coming out of the straw, which is what we want. So try that. We'll stop it up here. Like I'm trying to blow right now, nothing's coming out. And we want to feel all that resonance at the front of our face, even picture it at the tip of your straw. So that's the feeling that we're going for, but like I said, that's boring. So I'll usually just turn on a song whenever I'm driving, or maybe there's not even a song on, and I'll just walk around, have this straw in my mouth, and I'll hum a song. We'll do A Mighty Fortress Is Our God. And the key for this is to pick a key that you would be comfortable singing. We're not necessarily trying to stretch our range here, although we'll talk about an exercise in a second that can help us hit some higher notes comfortably. But just pick a key that you would be comfortable in. We'll do A Mighty Fortress Is Our God. It would sound something like this. And that whole time I'm focusing not so much on the notes. It doesn't even really matter if I hit the notes right now. But I'm focusing on that feeling of resonance, trying to get this straw to resonate as much as possible, because that means when I sing then, that all of the resonance, or as much of it as possible, is going to be at the front of my face, taking pressure off of my vocal cords. And you can also, like I talk about, just try to picture that back pressure that I talked about. It's almost like there's air coming in, pressing against your vocal cords. But like I said, that's not a scary thing. It actually feels good when that happens. So let's do that one more time. Focus on the resonance. Focus on that back pressure feeling. Don't worry so much about hitting all the notes. Oh, this is also going to train your voice to be stronger. This is one of the ways I strengthen my voice, is because now you're singing out of a smaller hole here. Instead of your whole mouth, there's more tension, more pressure that it takes. It helps with breath support too, because you have to breathe a little bit more narrowly. So you can just have that as an ancillary benefit. So I would just pick whatever song you like. Pick a song that's not like some crazy song. We're not going for 2 octaves here or anything. Just pick a normal song and just hum on it. And just this, as we focus on resonance, as we focus on that back pressure feeling, as we focus on breath support, will strengthen your voice so that you can sing better. And this is how I learned to not only talk with a resonant voice, but to sing with a resonant voice. And I might even switch back and forth, because ultimately, in the same way that we wanted to take that hum and apply it to words, we want to take the straw sensation and apply it to singing. So I might hum the first part of A Mighty Fortress Is Our God, and then I'll sing that same part with the words that it actually has, and focus on feeling the resonance while I'm singing the words. So it would look something like this. Now I'm going to sing that, feeling the resonance. A mighty fortress is our God. Go back to the straw. A bulwark never failing. And sometimes if there's like an M in the lyrics, I'll hang on to that M in the same way I would whenever I'm speaking, to feel that resonance. So I might start off, make sure the resonance is set. Mighty fortress is our God. And I really feel the resonance in my voice. So long story short, pick a song that you like. Nobody likes singing scales, although you can do it. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I hate singing scales, so I'm not going to be like... Not that it's bad to do that, but I just found I'll do it more consistently if it's a song that I like. So find some songs that you like, hum them through the straw, focus on the resonance, and that will help you apply resonant voicing to your singing. And so the result of all of those exercises, the ultimate goal to those exercises, which by the way, I'll leave descriptions of them in the description below. The ultimate goal is for your regular pain to be gone, which is what happened to me. I still feel the tension from time to time, but the regular pain is gone. Number two, if the tension does come back, now you know how to deal with it. And while it took maybe a month to get rid of the initial pain, now when I do those exercises, if I still have a little tension from time to time, if I do those exercises, the pain pretty much goes away instantly because my body already knows. Maybe it slipped back into that old way of not talking properly or not singing properly, but now I kind of re-trigger my brain to be like, oh yeah, this is how I speak properly, and I can reset my voice, and the pain will go away almost, I'll say instantly. I mean, once the exercises are done, the pain is gone, and I might have to return to it if my body reverts to the old way, but there have been stretches of, I don't know, 2-3 weeks where I haven't had any pain at all. And then if the pain does come back, it's minimal and I can pretty much solve it through stretching and through these exercises. The third thing that we're looking to accomplish is as you do this, if your nodules are small, once again, if they're big, then you might need to go on vocal rest. But for me, my nodules were small, so I could actually do these exercises while I had the nodules because now I'm training my voice to work properly. And even though I have nodules on my vocal cords, it makes sure that they heal because I'm speaking appropriately and it's not rubbing my vocal cords together in an unhealthy way, making those nodules bigger. So the goal is when you go back to get your video scope after however much time the ENT tells you you need to wait, then the goal is for those nodules to be gone and for any tension, muscle tension, dysphonia in your neck to be gone. And then finally, the best goal out of all of this is that your singing voice will actually improve because you won't be using muscles that you shouldn't be using whenever you're singing. You will be using the resonance in the front of your face. You will understand your voice more. Maybe you didn't even know that you should be resonating at the front of your face for more power. Now you know that, and your singing will be better almost instantly because now you know, oh, this is what I should be focusing on. I should be focusing on resonance at the front of my face. Almighty fortress is our God, instead of a mighty fortress is our God. That's all in the back of my throat. But push it forward, and now it's triumphant and powerful. A mighty fortress is our God. I hope that helps. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Like I said, I'll put description of these exercises down in the description below. First and foremost, though, I'll say it again, please go see an ENT. Schedule an appointment with an ENT so that you can get scoped if you're having these problems. Also, get in touch with a voice therapist. Your ENT will probably link you up with a voice therapist for some voice therapy. Even if you do just a couple sessions with them, it will help you immensely. Other than that, until I see you in the next video, I hope your pain is gone soon. And if you're a worship leader, keep leading worship well.